Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Louise Houghton.
Hello and a warm welcome to the show today. If you want some tips on how to look good, then stay tuned as here's what's coming up in the programme. Style and substance. How looking good has nothing to do with shape or gender. Prestigious prize, another major award for British architect David Chipperfield. And a day at the races, TV chef Johann Lafer cooks up a storm at the Nürburgring. The Germans have a reputation of dressing very practically, especially in the winter. But it seems that nowadays more and more people want to look stylish at the same time. This can be a bit of a challenge, but there are now blogs, books and personal shoppers on hand to help.
Things change quickly in the fashion world. What's out today can be in tomorrow, and vice versa.
Style expresses passion. It reflects your personality and how you present yourself.
It's about being comfortable.
As a woman, you use fashion to try to emphasize your good points.
There are some things that I probably shouldn't have been wearing, and I did just because, it was cool.
What goes well with my personality and figure? German fashion designer Guido Maria Kretschmer has been devoted to fashion for more than 25 years. His motto, it has to work for everyone. He wants to see his designs on everyday people.
I love the diversity in pedestrian zones. I like to see what people are wearing. The biggest fashion sin is when things don't work together. Some people flaunt that and some just wear the wrong colors. And another major problem is clothes where the cut is simply impossible, awful, just wrong. Please don't. It doesn't flatter the body in any way.
Kretschmer is now giving his fashion tips in book form. In his style guide, Attraction, he describes figure types and invents names for them. For example, the woman with a little too much of everything, the pufferfish, and the curveless beauty.
There are more figure types than just hourglass and an apple shape. We've had so many women with a unique shape or a mixed figure, and I always give these figures special names. Now I've made little stories so women can see you can still put things together well, even if you have a bit of this and that.
The stories have titles like The Nice Board or The Valkyrie. The designer provides examples of all types in his book.
Being big's not a problem. Just dress sensibly so your body takes on the right proportions. Show cleavage, create a waist and raise the bosom by wearing the right bra and even a body shaper. Underclothes that don't accentuate problem areas. Adele is far more than just a woman who's carrying a bit too much weight.
Another designer, Thomas Rath, has recognized that clothing isn't just a problem for women. This autumn, he's introducing his first men's collection and a style guide for men. Men increasingly want to dress well in everyday life. And they often ask fashion blogger Anna Eimerl for advice.
Fellas are dressing better and want to dress better. This hip-hop stuff, with the baggy trousers and sneakers, is slowly becoming a bit passé. Guys are ready to spend money on quality.
Quality instead of fickle trends. That's important to Kretschmer, too. His advice? Try it on and relax. Finding your own style takes time, and you're bound to make mistakes.
I also have days when my outfit is far from perfect. That's the game and the beauty of fashion. Fashion means having a feeling for yourself. I wear good quality clothes and feel good in them, but seeing only perfect people like in a stylized magazine is boring. I like when you see that a look has established itself in the real world. I think that's fantastic.
But all the experts agree, the most important aspect of fashion is that it should be fun.
And from fashion, we turn to design and the work of British architect David Chipperfield. He first made a name for himself in Japan back in the 80s and now has offices in London, Berlin, Milan and Shanghai. His usual modern approach was challenged in 2009 when he reconstructed Berlin's Neues Museum. But his blend of old and new has, in fact, won him several awards. And following this, he's now been commissioned to create an official entrance area to the entire museum island in the German capital.
Berlin's Neues Museum is again becoming one of the most renowned museums in the world. Since it reopened in 2009, around 700,000 people have visited it every year. One of its most popular attractions is the famous bust of Nefertiti. The sculpture is part of one of the world's most significant collections of ancient Egyptian art. British architect David Chipperfield planned and carried out the museum's reconstruction.
I had no idea what I was really entering when we won the competition for Neues Museum. I was really innocent about what such a work would entail. But and I thought I would be stuck with the sort of boring issues of reconstruction and repairing and cleaning up an old building. But this was the most extraordinary experience.
The museum was a ruin when Chipperfield started his work. 3/4 of the building was destroyed in World War II and the rest was simply left abandoned for almost half a century. In 1997, the architect and his team of experts took up the commission to make the ruin a museum again. He restored and exposed existing structures, but rejected an historically accurate renovation. The parts which had been completely destroyed were replaced with new ones. In addition to exposed traces of war damage, the museum is now a blend of original and new prefabricated concrete components.
I think Neues Museum is more to do, I hope, with an idea of continuum, that we don't see the future anymore, just as, there's not a polemic, hopefully, so much anymore between things which have to be obviously new by destroying the old, or obviously old by rejecting the new.
Initially, Chipperfield was lambasted for not rebuilding the original structure, but his vision of presenting ancient Egyptian art in fragmentary spaces has won over the public. On October the 16th, he will be awarded the Premium Imperiale for architecture. It is one in a series of honours he's received for the Neues Museum, including the Mies van der Rohe Award in 2011.
We've been entrusted with this building, and then we must give it back, and so in a way, giving it back is sort of easy, in some sense. I mean, we had a sort of a vacuum in our lives straight after. I mean, not holding the keys anymore to the building was a sort of shock for us, because we always, for many years, we were the ones who could unlock the house.
David Chipperfield builds museums with visitors in mind. That principle guided him when he designed the Turner Contemporary in Margate in 2011. The gallery's layout includes plenty of viewing space and makes use of the fantastic seashore light that so inspired its namesake, English artist J.M.W. Turner. Humans are Chipperfield's measure of all things. He's not interested in grandiose designs. He also designed an extension to the Museum Folkwang in the western German city of Essen. The new building opened in 2010.
The architecture is not meant to be the first thing. The architecture is a tool. It's just meant to be something which holds you, then of course you can notice that it's been well considered. But I don't really want people to come here and say, oh wow. I mean actually what they're coming is for the paintings. I want them to walk straight to the work.
David Chipperfield is now working on the Museum Island's entry area. The opening is planned for 2014.
Now, back on the subject of fashion, we're heading to Paris, one of the best cities in Europe, to discover new trends. When it comes to jewellery, big and bold is definitely in right now. French designer Johann set up her jewellery company 6 years ago to sell pieces like those that you can see behind me. She took inspiration from her Arabic roots, and it wasn't long before she gained an A-list celebrity following.
Johann has been making jewellery for her own label since 2007. She now employs 10 people at her studio in Paris. Her creations are decidedly eye-catching.
People often stopped me on the street to ask where I'd bought my jewellery, and I told them I designed it myself. That gave me the idea to start my own business. I talked it over with a friend who told me to give it a try.
Rayam's collections certainly turn heads. The more colourful and extravagant, the better.
I like to be offbeat. People should have fun with their clothes and jewellery.
The 33-year-old designer works mainly with rhinestones and crystals, which she orders in various colours. She even uses plastic.
At first I was unsure how clients would react. Plastic clearly looks more industrial, less luxurious. But I wanted to try it out because I thought these designs were modern. To play it safe, I developed 2 collections, a more traditional one and one with plastic. People took to them right away.
Rayam inherited her love of jewellery from her Tunisian grandmother, and she finds inspiration in India. She visits Mumbai 4 times a year.
I love the opulence of the Maharajas. Everything is over the top. They wear tons of jewellery. That kind of opulence suits me.
Rayam's jewellery is sought after around the world. Singers such as Beth Ditto and Jennifer Lopez wear it. Rayam even designed a belt for US First Lady Michelle Obama.
My whole team is very proud. My clients include Beth Ditto, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Anna Della Russo, the editor-in-chief of the Japanese edition of Vogue. They're all trendsetters who are constantly on the hunt for wild new outfits. But Michelle Obama was a different league altogether. When do you get the chance to contact Michelle Obama? It was a bit surreal.
In Paris, Rayam's jewellery is sold at upscale department stores. A necklace like this costs around 200 euros. One of her collections has a sporty theme.
This is from our sportswear collection, with cord used by rock climbers. I hate sports, but if I had to do something sporty, then this is what I'd wear.
The jewellery looks most impressive when combined with simple yet elegant clothes.
I like wearing black, nothing too flashy. Bling isn't really my thing. But once you put this on, you fall in love with it right away. It's very elegant, flashy yet chic.
The next step for Rayam is designing shoes, adorned of course with colorful rhinestones.
Now, Johann Lafer is a top TV chef in Germany. When he was a child, he always knew what he wanted to be when he grew up, but he's achieved more than he could ever have imagined. He has 2 successful restaurants, a hotel, cookery school, and he can also regularly be seen as a guest star at big events. We followed him to the Nürburgring racetrack, where he was making a promotional film, but not before he cooked up some energy-releasing food for the racers.
Johann Lafer is taking his helicopter to the Nürburgring in Rheinland-Pfalz. The track is perhaps Germany's most famous racing circuit. It's certainly an unusual place to promote his cooking.
What does car racing have to do with pots and pans? We're going to cook something for the drivers, so they'll be able to drive well later.
Motorsports fans forget all about the races for a moment when Lafer enters the pit lane. They receive him like a rock star.
My viewers are usually more interested in cooking than racing, but if you want to bring in new viewers, people who want that little extra something, come here and you'll see plenty of fans. It's nice that a cook can generate a bit of enthusiasm on the touring car championship circuit.
Then Lafer gets down to business. Together with the racing team's doctor, he makes a meal for the drivers. Scrambled eggs with herbs and organic muesli should give them the strength they need for the race.
Fiber and honey, instead of simple sugar as a sweetener, are ideal for a driver. When he's eaten that, he can be on the road for an hour with no problems.
The drivers go to the pole with renewed strength. Only a few minutes left before the race starts. The teams are focused as they make their final preparations.
It's great to see all this and feel the excitement. When you're standing here, you see people are really motivated and things are ready to just take off.
Oh, where's the good apple strudel?
Even though the drivers and mechanics are really wound up, they've still got time to say hello to Johann Lafer. They're all happy to meet him in a different environment.
He's a great guy who I really like and an outstanding cook, and we all enjoy eating a lot.
Lafer follows the start of the race from a VIP box.
It's fascinating how the guys drive their cars. It's overwhelming.
Then he has to move on to get ready to hand over the trophy to the winner.
You could drink 6 bottles of champagne from this trophy.
Receiving a trophy from a chef is something new for the drivers.
I was surprised to see him. It was cool. He was already part of our hospitality team and cooked for us.
First and third place go to drivers who were sustained by Johann Lafer's muesli before the race. The name Johann Lafer has a special meaning for them.
It means good food, and now it's associated with a touring championship win. You have to come every weekend.
Then Lafer needs to rush off. He has to appear in an advertising film for the racing series, because the star chef and touring car racing have a great deal in common.
It's a form of creativity, and it involves tactics, like changing a tire. Who starts on which tire? Then it rains. Cooking's the same. What comes first? What can I maybe do better? It's about fractions of a second, just like in motorsport.
In fact, Lafer stays long enough to find out a bit about racing car technology, because the next time he's at the track, he wants to take a spin himself.
Now, to finish the show today, we feature the work of German painter Jim Avignon. His style of using big, bold, primary colours for his work is what has brought him worldwide recognition. But even with this success, he likes to keep his paintings affordable, which is why speed is the name of the game when he sets to with his paintbrush.
Jim Avignon adopted his pseudonym when he was stranded and broke in the city of Avignon in the south of France. That's when he began painting to earn a living. The Berlin resident produces about 100 large format pictures a week. Speed is a central aspect of his style of creating art.
Hi, welcome to my studio.
Established gallery owners tear their hair out over Jim Avignon's low-priced paintings. They say he wants to undermine the rules of the art market. He's regarded as one of the most important representatives of cheap art.
Here I've sketched a man whose motives and intentions flow out of his head visually.
Motivationen, Absichten bildhaft aus dem Kopf heraustreten.
Now I'll give the whole thing color.
Kolorieren.
Right. First sketch is finished.
Erste Skizze steht.
Paintings by the artist are bright and seem happy-go-lucky, but they're also rife with social criticism.
Ich arbeite mit Acrylfarben.
I work with acrylics. They're water-soluble and they dry quickly. I'm known for using primary colors, red, yellow, blue. I usually begin with these colors to set a basic mood. But sometimes I choose my colors based on the paints I happen to have left over.
Treffe ich aber Farbentscheidungen tatsächlich danach, ob einfach noch Farbe übrig ist, die vermalt werden soll.
I'm unusually thrifty when it comes to paint.
Eigenartig, sparsam umgehender Mensch mit Farben.
I use up every last bit, even if more paint doesn't improve the work.
Besser tut, noch eine Farbe drauf zu bekommen. Insofern,
the choice of a color is based on whether I can keep on working well with it. That's a good basis, but sometimes I completely repaint everything.
Es kann auch sein, dass die Farbe wieder komplett umgemalt wird, die erste.
I paint on the floor because I dilute my paints heavily to give them a luminous intensity. If I painted on the wall, the paint would run down all the time. I usually work with primary colors on paper. I never paint on canvas. The main reason is that I can fold up paper pictures, pack 30 in a suitcase, and set up an exhibition. If I painted on larger canvas, I'd have to hire a moving company to transport my pictures. After I've applied all the paint, I have a phase where I retrace lines, emphasizing some but not others. The lines I've painted over can still be seen, and then I repaint the shading. I try to give the painting more strength and a more powerful expression.
Versuche ich nochmal dem Bild einen stärkeren Ausdruck und Charakter zu geben. Und ich glaube, ich bin schon auch sehr stark.
And I think I draw well.
Insofern ist für mich einfach der zeichnerische Part, also
so that aspect of the composition,
aus Linien,
and by that I mean the interplay of lines, is also an essential design element when I paint.
Ich male seit 25 Jahren.
I've been painting professionally for 25 years. They criticize me again and again because I've hardly ever changed my style. But I see myself as a storyteller, not an artist who thinks he has to start working in a completely new direction. My interest is really much more in content. I'm constantly working on the content, but I think my pictorial language is perfect as it is, and it'll stay that way. I'm pretty satisfied with this picture, considering the short time I had to do it. The guy's facial expression is very close to what I had imagined, and in terms of color, the composition is quite acceptable. But I won't make a final judgment until a few months from now.
Das endgültige Urteil kann ich erst in ein paar Monaten sprechen.
And that is all we have time for today. So thank you very much for joining us, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.